Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Sebelius declares war. The Obama administration has declared war on anyone opposing Obamacare, abortion, or contraception. Dissenting Catholic and Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius received some of the loudest applause at a recent NARAL Pro-Choice America luncheon after mentioning Obama's support for forced birth control coverage in his health care plan, denouncing the GOP in the same breath for fighting his efforts, according to worldmag.com. After facing peaceful pro-life activists outside, Sebelius said, quote, "We are in a war. It is a discomfort when you're coming to lunch, but think about the women who are trying to tap into the health services they desperately need, who have to go through that kind of gauntlet in order to access all too infrequent services," end quote. Although statistics contradict her opinion, Sebelius is openly defying the Catholic Church by claiming that more access to birth control will reduce abortion, daring America's bishops to excommunicate her. You can read the full story about Sebelius' recent statements on our resource page by clicking the link right over here. Alternative lifestyle funding. You may be advocating the transgender lifestyle and not even know it. Now that tax money is being used to help these surgically disfigured individuals into the workforce in cities all across the country. The city-funded program in Washington, D.C. is part of Project Empowerment, which has received $11 million, although the group would not say how much was being allotted to the transgender workforce program. Participants, largely high school dropouts, are given resume help and taught how to conduct themselves in the workplace, as well as how to handle background checks if their name changed after so-called gender surgery. Similar programs exist in Colorado, Hawaii, San Francisco, and Boston. Got religion? The recent sexual abuse scandals in the Catholic Church have led an Associated Press reporter back to the faith. Religion reporter Tom Breen, baptized Catholic, tells GetReligion.org in an interview that he knew nothing about religion when he was asked to cover the infamous priest sex abuse scandals in Boston while working for the Daily Hampshire Gazette in Massachusetts. He says, quote, "I quickly realized that I didn't know anything about Catholicism, and so to avoid embarrassing myself and the paper, I resolved to learn what I could," end quote. Coverage of the events in Boston led him to become a religion reporter interested in the faith, and after taking RCIA, he is now a devout weekly Mass attendant. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
Altar Girls Lament, a recent edition of the Jesuit periodical America, contains a letter from the editors entitled, quote, "Save the Altar Girls." The article says altar girls have been penalized by parish priests for favoring males as future priests after Blessed Pope John Paul the Great was the first one to allow altar girls in 1995, according to the Vatican Insider. Though this practice has always been considered an abuse, the Jesuit article itself laments that banning altar girls is, quote, "dragging the Church back into the pre-Vatican II world," end quote. You may remember RealCatholicTV.com covered the story earlier this summer of the Phoenix Cathedral's ban on altar girls, while the movement to correct the abuse is reportedly being welcomed in other places as well. You can read the Jesuit article, as well as more of what the Insider has to say, by clicking the link right outside the screen. Religious Freedom Fight, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or the EEOC, under the Obama administration, is trying to give itself the last word when it comes to a Catholic priesthood that is made up of men only. You may remember last week that a woman brought a landmark case to the Supreme Court claiming she was wrongfully fired by the Lutheran school Hosanna Tabor, attacking in her case what is called the, quote, ministerial concept, which is a law allowing religious institutions to screen and hire their own personnel based on religious standards. According to an article on the website catholicculture.org, the lawyer for the EEOC casts her legal argument, quote, in terms of the government's interests, rather than the unchanging language of the First Amendment. She left open the possibility that at some future date, under different circumstances, the government could side with women seeking ordination as Catholic priests, end quote. However, several Supreme Court justices have expressed concern over the EEOC lawyer's opinion in the case, and instead may choose to enforce the concept of ministerial exception and therefore defend the Catholic Church's legal and religious right to an all-male priesthood. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out The Vortex today, where Michael talks about immoral taxation. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us, and as always, God bless you.